Hey guys, welcome to another talkie. I'm Kevin,
I'm Whitney.
and we're going to do something a little special today. Uh, Forgive the layout and the lighting. We're trying out a couple of things, and it's a little bit of trial and error today, but we're just trying to do something a little different and experimental. It's Friday the 13th again, our second for the year. I think there's one more sometime this year. And so we've got a big idea that I had. I've seen other channels do where you take the big three, Halloween, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street, and rank the 33 films in those franchises. That's going to be a big thing for us to do, and we're going to do that just in a moment. But first, we also wanted to share a recent movie that we watched, our review of it. It's called Before I Wake, and it's directed by Mike Flanagan. And we've been recently tuning into a lot of Mike Flanagan's work. She and we'd already watched The Haunting of Hill House and Bly Manor, and I introduced her to Midnight Mass, which we'll be reviewing later on. We'll be posting that video soon. But Before I Wake was a really interesting movie, and I wasn't quite sure where it was going to go. But it had a really cool premise. You want to tell them a little bit about it?
No, you can go.
Okay. I don't want to do all the talking. Just, be selfish or anything. So basically, there's this husband and wife that end up losing a son, and so they decide they want to adopt, and they end up adopting a son, and they didn't know at the time that he has a special gift. And what ends up happening is this child has the ability to, his dreams become reality. But it works with dreams and with nightmares. And so you start noticing the patterns. Like he'll go to bed and look at a picture book about butterflies so that he has a nice image before he goes to bed, and things like that. Or he'll drink a lot of caffeine and try to stay up, poor thing. I mean, you could see it's just wearing this kid down. And it's just, it goes from good to bad to worse.
And it's not just the good dreams that come to reality, it's
Right.
the nightmares.
Yeah, the nightmares are they're horrendous. There's there's this, what is he called? The Canker Man?
The Canker Man.
The Canker Man is a ghoul in his mind that comes to life whenever he has a nightmare about him, and his dreams and nightmares both affect other people, and so it's like a really strong struggle for the family, because then it starts creating friction, and you have Thomas Jane's playing the father and Kate Bosworth's playing the mother. They both do a really good job in this movie. But seeing they're already having painful, memories and stuff, and dealing with a lot of grief and everything, because they've already lost a child. And then one night they realize that they see an image of their deceased child in the room with them, and they're just, they don't know what to think. They're just overcome with emotion. And so this starts becoming a regular thing, and the mother, Kate Bosworth, starts putting pictures up of the little boy everywhere so that it's fresh in the new little boy's mind before he goes to sleep, and because she's enjoying that time that she's got with them. And
almost like she's getting time back.
Yes, and I don't want to get too spoilery with all of it. It's on Netflix, but it is definitely worth a watch. It gets pretty intense. The last, I'd say, half hour or so gets really intense, and then there's a mystery that's trying to be solved, and there's just a lot of threads that lead to something else and something else. And you don't want to I don't want to give it away, because if I say too much, it's going to unthread something important to the plot.
It's just one of those that you got to sit back and watch and pay attention.
Yeah, there's a lot of detail and conversation dialogue that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I thought the performances were great. I forgot to look up the little boy's name, but I've seen him before, and he gives a really good performance. He's a sharp little actor.
Cute little guy too.
He's a cute little guy. He is. And Thomas Jane, I hadn't seen him in anything for a while. I always enjoy seeing him. And Kate Bosworth was really good. And so yeah, it gives you good feelings and bad feelings. There's jump scares. There's an eeriness to it sometimes, and sometimes things seem nice and then they turn ugly, and there's just a lot of really up and down, like roller coaster with your emotions.
Yeah, there's definitely some hit you in the heart, punch you in the gut moments.
For sure, for sure.
But it's definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, definitely check it out. It's called Before I Wake, and it's directed by Mike Flanagan. It's on Netflix. So if you guys haven't seen it, I strongly suggest giving that a watch. We wanted to kind of throw that out there before we start our big countdown. So here we are. Sorry, the picture behind me is a little fuzzy probably, but it's got our big three on it. And I'm going to say at the outset here, it's probably going to be different than most of y'all's because I'm a Michael Myers fan, number one. Jason would be my number two, and Freddy's my number three. That's just always the way that it's been for me. So my list is probably going to be, y'all are going to be like, what is wrong with you? But you know, I'm partial, so just a heads up. And sorry for the lights flickering. It's doing something weird with the camera.
Let's try something real quick. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, bear with us here.
There we go.
But yeah, I think that'll do. That'll be better. All right, so without further ado, we're going to do our 33 of the big three, starting with number 33, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. If you guys watched my review, actually, it's not working. All right,
no.
we'll just roll with it.
Okay.
If you guys have watched my Halloween review, if you haven't seen it, go over and check it out. This Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, his movies are always just like trailer park trash. Just I can't stand, every character's trashy, the dialogue's awful, and I just can't get behind it. It destroys the franchise for me. And I'm not going to go into any big, huge reviews on anything. I'm just going through these kind of quickly. So number 33 is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Number 32 is Rob Zombie's Halloween. Surprise, surprise. These two will be dead last. I'm just going to forewarn you guys from now on, when I do anything involving Halloween, if we're ranking the movies or what have you, these two are going to be at least near the bottom or at the bottom because I just can't stand them. So that's number 32. Number 31, we're going Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. Oh my goodness, this movie is awful. I don't know if you guys, maybe you've seen it. If you guys are fans, you've seen these movies. If you notice, as the franchise went on, Freddy Krueger's makeup got worse and worse and worse to the point that it was just like, it looked like a mask. It was just rubbery. And, you know, when you watch the first couple, you're just like, ooh, he looks creepy. And then you get to this one. This was the sixth one. And he's just like, he's popping jokes constantly. And the kills are lame. And, you know, there's a stupid 3D gimmick that they all tried at one point. A lot of these horror movies tried. And so Freddy's Dead, it'll always be at the bottom of Freddy's pile as far as I'm concerned. They'd have to do some major crap to beat that. So that's number 31. Number 30 is Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. Oh, this movie's so bad. Jason looks like a bloated fish. He's just like, and he roars and stuff at the beginning. It looks so stupid, and you got the whole passing from person to person. You've got the actual Necronomicon. There's a picture of the Evil Dead book. There's a scene with the Evil Dead book in here where they were trying to make like maybe Jason's a Deadite or something. That doesn't work. You can't just tie it to another franchise off the cuff like that. That's stupid. But Jason Goes to Hell was atrocious. I have never liked this movie, and it's always at the bottom of Jason's pile for me. So that I don't know what we're next up. I'm going to forget the numbers here because our monitor isn't working. Next up, we're going Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. No Michael Myers, but that's not why. I'm going with this one because it's kooky, because you got android people and people getting shot in the face with lasers, and you've got, Stonehenge magic and all kinds of weird stuff with this one. It's got a good soundtrack and it's got a good atmosphere, but that's it. I cannot get behind this movie at all. It's just too sci-fi and weird, and the ending is stupid. I just don't like it. So next up, we are going with Halloween Resurrection. And with good reason. I understand why a lot of people have this at the bottom. It's poop. This movie is poop. And Busta Rhymes irritates me to no end with this movie. You don't kung fu Michael Myers. You don't get in his face and trash talk. You just don't do that. That's just disrespectful to Michael Myers. You just do not do that. So at the end of the day, they wasted H2O's ending, and everything that Jamie Lee Curtis did that was awesome, they erased it. They just destroyed it. And there was one other thing on my Halloween review that I wanted to mention too. In Resurrection, it's bad enough that Michael's mask looks like he's got Botox injections. But if you look at the eyes, he's got like the Batman makeup on underneath. So it gives him like a dark edge. But like if you do lighting correctly, like you don't have to do that. Like they always did shadowing and stuff in the others. Or some of the masks even had mesh on them to cover the eye holes. This one, they just had black makeup. And I'm like, can you picture that? Michael Myers putting his emo makeup on before he puts his mask on, just trying to look like the Crow or something. Like, get out of here. It's generic. I hated this movie. So it's wherever it is on the file. I just gave up on the counting, like I said.
Sorry, guys.
I'm sorry.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, we've had some difficulties, but we're new at this, so bear with us. Jason X is next. Uber Jason, Cyborg Jason, whatever you want to call him. It's awful. Like I said in my other review, it looks like it was shot in a Home Depot. Like it's got like you ever walk into like one of those storage units and it's got like the aluminum walls on it and all that stuff. That's what it looks like. They try to make it look like a spaceship, and they have the early 2001 graphics that look like a PlayStation 2 game. It's terrible. You don't go sci-fi and fantasy like that with Jason. You just don't do it. It was so stupid. And Jason Goes to Hell was right before this movie, and they couldn't do Freddy versus Jason yet, which tied into Jason Goes to Hell. So they put this right in the middle. So it's set in the future, so it's not consequential to Freddy versus Jason. So it's like it was a peg warmer. It was basically just keeping the franchise here and giving it a placeholder until they could get where they wanted to go with it. And this movie is just awful on every level. The one thing I've got going for it, like I said, is the liquid nitrogen to the face, and he bashes the girl's face on the cabinet.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
That's the best kill of the franchise and one of the worst movies. So that's my opinion on Jason X. And next up, we've got the Nightmare on Elm Street remake from 2010. Now, I wouldn't say this movie is this low originally, because it's not Jackie Earle Haley's fault. He plays Freddy instead of Robert Englund on this, and he looks weird, granted, but we're so used to Robert Englund. Seeing somebody else play Freddy's just weird.
You can tell the character change.
Definitely. But that's not my gripe with it. At the first half of the movie, they kind of make Freddy almost a sympathetic character. And it's like, well, he's not sympathetic. You don't want him to be like an anti-hero. But then towards the end of it, then they start leaning into Freddy was a pedo stuff. And I'm just like, no, like, we don't need that. Like, it was always kind of, in the background, maybe a thought you had, but it's like they never spelled it out. Freddy killed kids, that's what he did. Like, but they went full throttle with it, and I was like, no, we don't need that. And that just soured me on this whole movie. So that's the last Freddy that we've had for a while. So yeah, I don't like the remake at all. And next up, we've got Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. This was the one where we had Roy instead of Jason in the hockey mask, and Roy sees his son get killed, and it sets him on a rampage. And the whole time he's wearing a Jason mask or a hockey mask with the blue chevrons instead of the red, and You know, the whole time it's like, when I first watched it, I didn't know there was a bait and switch. I didn't know that it wasn't Jason, but he had certain mannerisms. Like sometimes he'd get hurt and he'd hold his stomach. I was like, well, I don't remember Jason doing that a lot. You know, he might get hurt and limp or something, but like this guy was getting hurt. You know, but then at the end, when you see him fall onto the spikes, his little mask comes off and you can see his face underneath. And so then, of course, they have to fill you in on who it is. Because even when his mask comes off, it's like, well, it's raining and you can't really tell who the guy is. So I was like, okay, well, I guess they'll just explain it to us because I still don't understand.
We want a better picture.
Exactly, yeah. Show us Roy's face, for crying out loud. But yeah, this one was not good, and it was really sleazy. It had a really just cheesy look to it. I don't like this one.
I think I'll watch this one with you.
You may have. It's not very good. So we'll go to the next one, and next I've got Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. This one, like I said in my other review, was just so much wrong with this movie. It just irritates me. You can just throw continuity just right out the window with this one. And they just destroy, it's just like what they did with Resurrection to H2O. They did the same thing with Halloween 5 to Halloween 4. They destroyed everything Halloween 4 set up. Because at the end of Halloween 4, you see that the evil in Michael Myers has affected Jamie, the little girl. It made her stab her foster mother. And she killed her at the end of that movie. And then in this one, well, she stabbed her, but she didn't kill her. And we're not going to go that route. We're going to let Michael wake back up, and Jamie's just confused. And they could have went a completely different route and made that movie so much more interesting, but it just turned into a run-of-the-mill slasher. And the director was named Dominique Othenin-Girard. He was a foreign guy. I don't remember if he's French or wherever he's from. Swiss. I think he was Switzerland maybe. And this guy was just... He was just throwing stuff at the wall to see what would stick. And he'd be like, oh, I like this house, even though it's not the Myers house. It's a big Gothic mansion. But I like this house. We're going to use this house. And it's not the Myers house, okay? People who have stuck with this franchise know what the Myers house looks like. And that ain't it, sir. That looks like something from the Munsters, okay? So get off your high horse. You don't start fresh at number 5 and be like, well, I'm going to invent the franchise. No, you're going to stick with the continuity, or you're going to make a lot of people mad.
Can't make a Halloween movie if it's not the Michael Myers house.
Exactly, yeah. And like I said before, something simple like you can't use the same Halloween 4 mask. I mean, we're talking seconds after Michael falls into a hole. He crawls out of the hole wearing a different mask. You going to tell me he had one in his pocket? Why would he change masks?
Costume change.
Yeah. And they do all this stuff, and they expect us fans to just swallow it and take it and be all right with it. I'm sorry. No, it's annoying. Like, we care about our franchise. You may not. Maybe you cashed it in for a check, and that's all you cared about was getting paid. But at the end of the day, we're the ones buying the DVDs and the Blu-rays and the posters and stuff. We want this stuff right.
The fans want it right.
That's right. And as a matter of fact, I keep hearing rumors about maybe they'll do a Halloween series, and like it'll be like an anthology, like a what if kind of a series. And there's a lot of people calling for a new sequel to Halloween 4 and pretend 5 didn't happen, and just kind of a what if that hadn't happened, what would happen with Jamie and Rachel and everybody. That would be cool. I would like to see that.
I didn't know that.
So I'm hoping that, I don't know if it's a petition going around or if it's just
hearsay.
Yeah, but I'm hoping something like that happens. Next up, Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. So if you notice on this countdown of mine, we had Friday 5, Halloween 5, and Nightmare 5 all in a row. I wonder why. Because they all suck. Nightmare 5, you got Freddy. I believe it's the same girl from Nightmare 4. I'm not as well versed in Nightmare, but it's the same main girl, I think, and she's pregnant, and he's going into the dreams of this unborn child, and that's what gives him his power to come back and wreak more havoc. And at the end of the day...
Is this where the symbol starts appearing?
The symbol.
Never mind. I'm thinking of a different movie. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. I was thinking of Halloween.
Oh, you're talking about the thorn. Okay.
Yeah, well,
that started in Halloween 5. Good call, though.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. That's where we first see the thorn tattoo on Michael's wrist.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Halloween 5.
So sorry, Freddy fan. Sorry.
It's okay. We'll forgive you. It's been a long day. If y'all can't forgive her, shame on you. But anyway, but yeah, I did not like this movie at all. I don't like any of the later Freddy's for the exception of maybe one. And we'll get to that eventually. So we'll just go ahead and move on to the next one. We got Friday the 13th, Part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan, also known as Jason Takes a Boat to Vancouver, because he takes 90% of this movie, he's on a boat, and you get about 2 seconds in New York, and then the rest is supposed to be New York, but it's Vancouver because it's cheaper to film there. So they did the old switcheroo to everybody, and I've already talked ad nauseum about how they ruined the character of Jason, and they just melted him down to a normal-looking child in the sewer, and then Jason Goes to Hell follows this, and this never happened. So it's just like, what is the point? This was the 8th installment. This was the last time Paramount took a swing at it. They had already dropped the ball so many times before with this lore. And I was watching a video the other day. They were trying to match up, okay, what year would this one be? Well, this is supposed to be 2 years later, but if you do the math, there's no way that's possible. And they just dissected this entire thing. And this one, if you go by the years of the characters, like the ages and stuff, this should be like the year 2000 something, and it's 1989. And if you look at the Times Square shots, the Batman 1989 logo is on the screen up there. They're advertising that movie's going to come out. And I'm like, what are you doing? Are we just not supposed? I know, folks, it's a cheap slasher, but some of us care about continuity. Yeah. Even when we watch goofy stuff, we want it to semi make sense.
And a lot of people pay attention to those details you don't think that they do.
Yes, so many people, and I'm sure that when they started these franchises, they never thought 40 some years later we'd be talking about them. But folks, here we are, okay? When we've got 33 movies under these banners, we're paying attention. So can you try to pay attention? I think they're doing a little bit better with stuff now, but there's just not as much coming out now. I know in the Friday the 13th, there's been legal battles. Because there's like a split down the middle, and I don't know all the details, but I know there's like, well, this creator has rights to Mrs. Voorhees, but not the Jason character, and vice versa. They can call it Jason, but not Friday the 13th. There's all these legal stuff, and it's like everybody's just trying to get their piece of the pie or whatever, and all it's doing is just prolonging us from getting anything. I think that's why we only got 12 episodes of Friday the 13th. We never made it to number 13, but we do have a Crystal Lake show coming out later this year.
How did you make a show about Friday the 13th and not have 13
never
episodes?
Never made it to 13. Halloween did, but Friday never did. I know, it's insane.
That messes with my OCD.
Yeah, I know. Make one more.
Just one more. 13.
Yeah, so that's Jason Takes Manhattan. Next up is Halloween Ends, number 13. And this movie is garbage until you get to the last 20 minutes of it. Where you finally, the trailers were teasing Michael Myers and Laurie Strode are going to have their big finale, and they're going to fight it out to the death, and somebody's dying. And it took them an hour and 45 minutes or whatever to get there, and we're dealing with this character that nobody even knew until now. You cannot tell me that y'all went into this with this plan. I know you didn't, because I was watching Halloween Kills and how that ended, and I was like, dude, this guy has been beaten and shot and burned and everything, and he's just taking out your town. And in the very next movie, he's being taken out by a little squirt that got beat up by band geeks. Now, you tell me how that makes sense. I don't understand it. But anyways, I think they were trying to be experimental, and they got too big for the britches, and they made Halloween Ends when they should have just been like, okay, well, let's just tack the ending of Halloween Ends onto Halloween Kills and call it a day. That's what they should have done. But anyway, here it sits. Next up, Halloween H2O 20 years later. By the way, I hope you guys are paying attention with the count, and I'm sorry that I'm not. I have a list over there somewhere. But we had a nice presentation that was supposed to come up behind us, and it just didn't work out. So enjoy this stale picture that's not moving. But
Sorry, guys.
yeah, it's not your fault. It's just technical poop.
It froze.
Yeah, it literally froze and it's not moving. So apologize for that. But we're going to roll with it because that's what we do. That's what warriors do.
Keep going.
Halloween H2O. And I know you love this one, or at least you care a lot about this one. But Michael Myers looks like my little cousin. He's not scary. He's not. The mask looks stupid. And it's like there's literally 4 masks in here. And the opening scene of the movie has the Halloween 6 masks, which makes sense. But then they wanted to erase Halloween 6 from existence, so it's only 1, 2, and H2O. So they did away with that, and then they had this one that looked like a ceramic baby, and it got poorly reviewed. But if you look in the back shots of Michael from a distance, that's the one he's still wearing. And then they had another mask made that's got eye holes like this, and there's no mystery to it at all. Michael's walking around like a fro, and he is. He looks like a stoner or something. Yeah. And it's not scary at all. And then you have the awful CGI mask, because instead of just eliminating that shot or reshooting it, they're like, well, we can fix it in post with CGI. So they tried to take a digital picture of the original 78 mask and superimpose it onto this mask. And it looks like garbage. And they show it up close twice. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Why? Just don't. And it's even worse with high definition stuff now. And that's what takes me out of this movie. I will say it's Jamie Lee Curtis's best performance in the whole franchise. It's just a shame that it's in a crap movie. I just don't like. I like the cast. I think it looks very glossy, which is hit and miss for people. I get that. But it's like
I think certain technologies just for certain things, not for everything.
Exactly. And we're used to suburbia. When you see Haddonfield, you want to see suburbs and just towns, regular people.
You want to be taken back to the time.
Yeah, and they go to California in this because that's where she's teaching at this school, and everything just looks shiny and polished, and you have like an orchestral version of the soundtrack, and they even use screen music. And I was like, I kept wondering, I was like, why is Marco Beltrami, he's in this, credited for some of the music, and that's why, because some of the chase scenes are from Ghostface, not Michael Myers. It's like, we don't need that. There's actually a scene in H2O where the girls are in their dorm room and they're watching Scream 2 on TV. And I was like, well, that's fitting. But anyway, I think Scream 2 came out the year before H2O did, so it's kind of funny. But at the end of the day, man, the one cool shot is Michael hanging from that pipe coming down from the ceiling. That was cool. I appreciated that because it was different. But at the end of the day, and part of it's Resurrection's fault, because I know that with the continuity, that's not Michael Myers anyway. She decapitates some EMT that wasn't smart enough to take his mask off and be like, hey, before you kill me.
I'm not who you think I am.
Yeah.
But kill me anyway.
Even if you can't talk, you'd be like, something,
I'd have to be pointing at the mask like, take it off.
Right. Yeah, it's just, if you try to add it up, it just doesn't make sense at all.
I could understand if maybe his mouth got sewed shut or something.
Yeah, at least that would make
sense. But he was perfectly capable of at least alerting her.
Yeah, why wouldn't you just peel the mask off? That's all you got to do.
I'm all for a thriller or a guess. Mm-hmm. That was not...
That was not very good at all.
Why didn't you just take it off?
Right. And I think it's the shortest one of the franchise too, because there was editing stuff that they did. They edited out characters. Like there's an actor, y'all probably know Charles S. Dutton. The biggest role I know him from, he's in A Time to Kill, where he played the sheriff.
Oh, okay.
And he was in Alien 3. He's been in some big movies. But like in this movie, I think he's in Alien 3. In this movie, he was supposed to play like kind of a detective or a sheriff or something, and he's on the trail and he's trying to piece it together. And they were going to have like a kill scene with him that was pretty important, but they took his character out completely, and it felt rushed. It was like, well, there's something missing because the movie's just straight to the point, very short. And I don't know, There's times when you need filler if you're going to make it that short because it don't feel like it's worth your time if you're not getting. We're already getting a subpar Michael Myers. I would rather have at least a story to go with it.
Right.
So anyway, that's my take on H2O. We're moving on to oh boy, Nightmare on Elm Street 4 Dream Master. Speaking of undoing the previous film, Nightmare 4 undoes Nightmare 3. All the characters from Nightmare 3 get eliminated in Nightmare 4. What fun! It's like, let's take these really good ideas. Nightmare 3 is beheld by fans as one of the best. They love that sequel. But Nightmare 4 just totally, now I'll grant you some of the kills are cool, but it just completely undoes the victory of Nightmare 3. And I don't know, it bothers me unless I'm getting my wires crossed here. I'm pretty sure that because I remember there's one scene where Freddy's got the girl that was the junkie or whatever. He instead of claws, he had like needles on his hands, like syringes and stuff. I don't know, it just bothers me. I don't know. Nightmare 4, it has some cool sequences, but I'm not a big Freddy fan anyways, and it did not win me over. And on top of that, this is where he started getting really silly, and Freddy wasn't scary anymore. And once you lose your scare factor, I'm not really interested anymore.
It's like, what's the point in watching a horror film if it's not a horror film?
Yeah, if you're just laughing, you're just waiting on somebody to die. Like, that's a run-of-the-mill slasher.
Come on, we can do better.
Yeah, we can do better. With the big 3, yeah, come on. So, yeah, there's a reason why that's as far as it is. So, next we got Freddy versus Jason. When this first came out, I was a lot higher on it. But it's been 20-some years, like 23 years now. And the CGI is awful. There's a scene where Freddy is this little CGI worm crawling around. And
okay.
Yeah, it was weird. Once you get to the actual Jason-Freddy fight, it's okay. But like I said before, Ken Kersinger plays Jason instead of Kane Hodder. And he's just a tall, lumbering Frankenstein Jason. He's not a good Jason when it comes to hand-to-hand fight. Kane Hodder was shorter and stockier. He would have been a better fight, I think. But anyway, at the end of the day, Kelly Rowland's in here, and she ends up, from Destiny's Child, she got a machete to the face and knocked to the tree. That was pretty cool, I guess. And the one dude got the bed folded up backwards on him. That was pretty cool. But it's just...
He got pretzel ties.
Yeah, he did. But I'm not a big fan of Freddy vs. Jason anymore. The more I watch it, the less I like it. So we're moving on to the original Friday the 13th. Here comes some harpoons shooting at me. This movie is not what they marketed it as. You're thinking it's like a whodunit, like a mystery, because they don't ever show the killer's face. And you see a hand and you'll see feet and different things. But you don't ever see who's doing the killing. And if you're going to hide the killer, then make it somebody that we were going to be surprised to find out who it is. Like it's somebody we should already know, But instead it's this lady that she has to explain who she is, which is, by the way, if you're looking, okay, take the movie aspect out of it. Look at if this was real life, okay, and you spent this whole movie killing all these teenagers and stuff. Why in the world would you take the time with the last one to explain why you're doing what you're doing? Why would you go out of your way? If you think everybody in this camp is killing your son and they're trouble, you would just kill them. You wouldn't go through killing everybody and go to this last girl and be like, oh, by the way, I'm Mrs. Voorhees. I used to work here. Blah, blah, blah. You wouldn't do that. The only reason you're doing that is to tell the audience who you are and what your motive is. That's it. So at least make it make sense. I love Betsy Palmer. I love her in the role. I think she was very psycho. She was creepy as a creepy mother. Just the way she would be like, "Kill her, mommy, kill her," in Jason's voice. That's creepy. And there's one thing that I didn't mention in the other video, which I did appreciate. There's a character. I think her name is Brenda. She keeps hearing somebody say, "Help me!" And it's pouring down rain, and it's in the middle of the night, and she gets up and she starts trying to follow this voice. She keeps trying to find where it is, and she keeps hearing, help me, hurry up!" And like it's somebody drowning, what's going on? So she's trying to find, and then she goes out by the archery court, and like this light shines on her, and then like she's dead. So it's like, it was a really cool setup, but it's like, this movie is so kind of boring for me when you have to sit through. There's literally shots of following Alice around in an empty cabin where she's making tea and she's strumming the guitar, nobody's around, and she's wondering where everybody is. And I'm like, you're just padding the runtime. You are just dragging this movie out for no reason. And just get on with it.
Way to set us up for failure.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, at the end of when they're fighting, they're having the big fight. Like I said, she throws a ball of string at Betsy Palmer, and then, you know, I would take the shotgun. Even if I didn't have ammo, I'd be swinging that thing. There ain't no way I'm gonna be like, here, take this.
Jab her in the face with it or something.
Yeah, she's going down.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, I just thought that was silly. But I owe a lot to Slaughtered Lamb, because I've watched a lot of their videos, and Darren over there brought that up, and he's always he's always bothered by the ball of string, and that he's 100% right. That was just ridiculous. So we're going on to Nightmare on Elm Street 3: Dream Warriors. I'm not as high on this one as everybody else is. I think it's okay, but you know, it's like these guys decide to take Freddy on in the dream world, and they use their own abilities. Like one dude is like a magician, and he's like doing sorcerer work on Freddy, and one dude's got like muscle, and he fights Freddy in, I think, a junkyard or something. And it's like, so they take their gifts and apply them to the dream world. I can appreciate that. Heather Langenkamp comes back for this one. She's the girl from the first one, and there's a good supporting cast, but this movie, it just doesn't do it for me. Since I've watched it the first time, I've watched it 2 or 3 other times, and it just loses steam every time I watch it. I'm just not big on this one. Like I said, I'm not trying to be, you know, partial towards Freddy, because he's my least favorite of the 3. But from a movie standpoint, I just don't enjoy it very much at all. Next up is Friday the 13th, 2009, the remake. And the opening of this movie is just like a long prologue, and it covers basically the first 3 or 4 original movies in its own little prologue here. So that just starts a new continuity, new story. Here's what happened. You got a new Jason and a new Mrs. Voorhees, and here's what happened. So it just basically recaps with new actors, basically. But Jason is a lot more savvy in this one. He's got traps set up around the camp, and he's got tunnels under the camp, and he can.
The tunnels got me.
Yeah, that was interesting. You can hear, like, he knows there's bells ringing when somebody hits a certain spot, and he runs to them, and it was cool. And you got to see Sackhead Jason and Hockey Mask Jason, and so that was kind of cool. Jared Padalecki from Supernatural's in this. I think Danielle Panabaker's in this, and spoiler alert, she gets killed, and I was bummed out because she was my favorite character in the movie, and they killed her very just unceremoniously, just for nothing. And there's quite a bit of sleaze factor in this movie, so, but that's kind of to be expected in the Friday movies. There's a lot of that, but it's very pronounced here, I will say. So we'll move on to Halloween 2018. This franchise by this point really needed a jump start. They needed something, because we'd been dealt Resurrection, we'd been dealt both of Rob Zombie's movies, and we were just like, us fans were just crying out for something. Do something. You know, I know Rob Zombie's movies have fans, and a lot of people like them. I hate them. They didn't do anything for me positive whatsoever. But 2018 was a breath of fresh air. The only thing that I didn't like was that it erased everything after part 1. So everything that I had established in my head, you know, I know there was a lot of hits and misses, but I like the lore. I like the whole Thorn trilogy, as they call it, even though some of it's stupid. I still liked it. There's parts of it that I enjoyed, and I wished at least Halloween 2 would have been canon here, but it's not. So basically, you've got Laurie Strode 40 years later, you know, setting up house like a Terminator and got guns everywhere. She tells one of the characters, she's like, I've been praying he'd get out so I could kill him. Like, okay, but at the end of Halloween Kills, your daughter gets killed, and you're going on your merry way 4 years later. Like, I'm just gonna bake pies and everything. Like, they twisted the time around it. It's the plot and everything like that just doesn't make sense. Like, Michael wasn't killed at the end of Kills. He disappears, and you're fine with that now. It's only been 4 years, according to the movie timeline. It's only been 1 year by the time we saw one movie to the next. So it just doesn't feel warranted. Like, it just feels empty in that one. But this one, Michael, according to this continuity, Michael killed 5 people 40 years ago. Now all of a sudden, you're Rambo and you're ready for Michael to be murdered, blah, blah, blah. I want him to get out so I can kill him. That's just, it doesn't make sense. But, you know, if you take all of that away, you've got some really good Michael Myers action here. James Jude Courtney was fantastic in the role. He does his little trick or treat going down the street from house to house. I got a hammer and killed this lady so that I can get a knife, and then I'll go kill this lady with the knife. And it's just like his twisted version of trick or treat. And the mask looks incredible. Like, the one thing I will say, like, the mask looks old and weathered, but when he puts it on, it's like, it's sturdier than the original mask. If you watch him take the mask off and put it back on in the original movie, it's like paper thin. But this one's like
more form fitting.
Yeah, it's very sturdy. That's the one thing that's kind of a shot against it. But as far as how it looks incredible. And this movie had a really good cast. The Dr. Zartane moment was stupid. I brought that up before. You don't have a twisted psycho doctor. Oh, I want to know what it's like to be Michael and kill somebody. Blah, blah, blah. That's stupid. We didn't need that garbage. Get out of here. And Michael gave him one of the best kills in the franchise, where he's laying on the ground and Michael just stepped on his face and it's just like a watermelon. And I was like, yes, get out of my movie. So, anyways, I was happy with that moment, and we got the movie back on track and we're good to go. So I like Halloween 2018. It's not perfect, but I did like it. Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. And it took me forever to get onto this movie. But, and there's a lot of like gay undertones in this movie that really are pronounced nowadays, that you maybe not so much back then, or they could just get away with it and smooth it away back then. But that notwithstanding, Freddy in this movie is creepy. Like, there's one scene where they're having, like, it's close to the end, and they're having like the big backyard barbecue or whatever it is, and Freddy just goes medieval at this party, and the makeup on him, he looks like an old witch. He's got like the pointed nose, and his ear looks like it's just welded down, and he just looks gross, but he's scary. And the way they lit the scene was, you know, the fire everywhere, and it shone off of his makeup, and he's just really creepy. And this movie's silly, but it's also dark, and it recognizes what it is. We hadn't gone full clown Freddy Krueger yet. So I like this one, and I like the makeup in it. Some of the kills are okay. So I put this one higher than a lot of people probably do. Next up, Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. And now you've got what everybody calls Jason versus Carrie, where you have a girl named Tina who has mental powers like Carrie, and she's mopping the floor with Jason a lot of the time in here. She's hitting him hitting him with a lamp, and hitting him, knocking him through the floor, and shooting nails at him and catching him on fire, and she's whooping him. And it was really cool. And this was Kane Hodder's first time as Jason. And when the mask comes off and you get to see his nasty face, I mean, it shows like you see the hole in his head where he got chopped every time, and like all of the
gashes.
Yeah, and his flesh is all rotten. Like, you can see his spine and his kneecaps when he walks. It's like they did such a good job with the makeup in this movie, and I love that.
Yeah.
What I hated was that the MPAA butchered this, because it had some really creative kills. And I'm not a gore hound. I could take it or leave it. And I think sometimes it detracts from a scary movie. But when you've got just cutaway scenes and nothing happens, you don't want to watch a slasher where nothing's happening, you know. But, I mean, there's just a couple of kills that just don't make sense. Because in a previous movie, I think it was part 4 maybe, from part 4, Jason throws a girl out of a window, and she lands on top of a car, and the car shatters and it kills her. Well, in this one, they ran out of ways to kill somebody, so Jason just throw this girl off this balcony, and she just hits the ground, and it's not even that far, and it's like, well, I guess she's dead. Like, there's no blood. She just goes plop, and that's it.
Take a guess.
Yeah, next. But at the end of the day, I like this one because it gave Jason somebody to fight that was actually fighting back and doing damage to him, and I thought that was really cool. Now I could go into the whole dad in the lake stuff. That's stupid, but they needed some way to make Jason's chained down in the lake, and so whatever. She materialized her father that wasn't even there, but okay, it's fine. But you got to suspend belief
You gotta
when
have
you're
a story, babe.
yeah, I mean, when you're dealing with a zombified killer, I guess you can take or leave reality. But we're going to move on to Friday the 13th, Part 3, the one shot in 3D. If you try watching it without the 3D goggles, it's awful. But as far as the special effects go, but it's got one of my favorite Jasons in it. Richard Brooker, R.I.P., he's no longer with us. But he had one of the creepiest faces when they did the makeup on him. And he's a hulking dude. He's a big dude, and like he was menacing. And there's one thing that always gets me with this, though. And nobody's ever really explained it. Okay? Excuse me. You have a final girl here named Chris. And she's telling somebody at one point in the story, she's telling somebody this backstory about how she was attacked by this guy in the woods. And you're only seeing him from a distance. You can see his bald head. They never zoom in on his face. But she passes out from whatever that attack was. And it's almost alluding to a sexual thing. Like Jason had his way with her and didn't kill her. That's what it sounds like. But they never describe it. But then in the final fight, there's a scene where she knocks Jason out of a barn and he's hanging. And she opens the door and he's still there, which is creepy. He's hanging there. And he starts moving and he lifts himself up off the rope and he lifts the mask, and it's the same guy that assaulted her. And I'm just like, so they've turned Jason into a rapist? Like, I don't like that. But they don't spell it out. It's almost like, well, it could be this, but it might not be this. But either way, you're not going to survive an encounter with Jason like that. He's not going to attack you and you just pass out and survive. That's just not how it works.
He's like, okay, I'm done with you.
Yeah, that's not how it works. But I will bring this up again. When she's out in the boat and she looks up at the glass of that building and Jason's in the top and he's got the bloody head and his mask's off and he's like, and he comes busting through the door and running towards the lake. That's one of the scariest shots in the entire franchise, and it turns out to be a hallucination. And then they follow it up with the mother jumping out of the lake, which was dumb, but a hallucination again. But Chris lost her mind at the end of this episode, but there was a lot of really good kills. It's the dawning of Jason's hockey mask for the first time. It's an important movie in the franchise. It's an important entry. So I can appreciate it for all of its positive qualities. And because of Richard Brooker, that's why it's placed where it is. Next up, I am going to get heat. The original Nightmare on Elm Street. That's right, folks. I believe we're at number 11, if I remember my count correctly. I think this was number 11.
Would you like me to check?
You don't have to.
Okay.
It's okay. You guys are probably keeping... I hope you are keeping count, and I apologize for not having the number system working. But Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, was... It was really, really good. And of course, we get to see Johnny Depp, and I think it's either his first or one of his first roles. And in the famous waterbed scene where he's sucked down into the waterbed and just gallons of blood shoot up out of the waterbed. That's a really cool shot. Freddy's creepy in this. He's really scary. He's dark. But I think my problem, and maybe this is why I'm biased against Freddy, is because Freddy talks and he laughs and he pokes fun at the people he's killing. And like the girl that he's scaring, he starts cutting his fingers off and laughing about it, I like silent stalkers. I like my slashers to not talk and not taunt you. Their presence is enough to scare you. And that's why Freddy's always been number 3 to me. I just don't like, it's fine to have a personality or whatever, but a blank slate like Michael or Jason to me is just creepier to me. So that's why it's placed here at what I believe is probably around number 11. So we're going to move on to Another hot take, the original Halloween is placed right here. I know this is the holy grail for a lot of people, especially Halloween fans. Rarely ever do I see a countdown about Halloween where Halloween 1 is not at the top. I never see it. And it don't matter if you're talking about the movie itself or the portrayal of Michael Myers or the mask or anything. Halloween 1 is always at the top, okay? And I'll never knock it, because John Carpenter started the slasher craze of the 70s and 80s to what we know today. He's the one responsible for a lot of that. But when I compare it to the entries above this movie here, it's just not as exciting. Like, there's a lot of stalk, which is cool. It's creepy, but it's a slow build. And I don't know, now that I've seen other slashers of the 80s, it kind of takes me out of it a little bit. I'm like, can we get on with it? And maybe a lot of that is because I'm partial to part 2, as you'll see, and I know what all happens before that already, and part 2 just picks up and does something new with it. So it's like, I don't know. I don't care as much for it. I appreciate it. That's why it's where it is. But there's other Halloweens, as far as my personal interest, what I'm more entertained to watch. I don't go to this one very often. Usually when I go to Halloween 1, it's going to be a double feature with Halloween 2 because it's the same night. And it's just a better experience for me. But on the whole, I rarely go back and watch Halloween 1. But I placed it here because it's important. And if it wasn't for this one, we wouldn't have my favorite slasher of all time. So I'm thankful to John Carpenter for that. Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, the one that fans hate, the ones a lot of fans say that is an abomination. This one has two versions. There's a theatrical and a producer's cut. Y'all like the producer's cut, a lot of y'all, because it delves into it dives into the cult stuff more. But here's my problem, folks. Okay. Producer's cut, when they put this out in theaters for like a test screening, they were test screening it with like 14 and 15-year-olds, and they're wanting to see blood and guts. They don't care about a story. That was a big mistake, letting these people tell you the movie that you're watching is good or bad. You need to have somebody there that's taking it all in and knows movies. Well, so when the producer's cut hit, and it flopped with test audiences, they went back and reshot stuff and created the theatrical version that most of us saw. That's the version I prefer, and I'll tell you why. Because the producer's cut, the one thing that it does have going for it is a lot more Dr. Loomis, and I appreciated that so much. Donald Pleasence was awesome. This was his last movie that he did. He passed away before the movie wrapped, and that broke my heart. I love Donald Pleasence. And without Dr. Loomis, this series would never have gone anywhere. I really believe that. But you have the producer's cut showing you the whole, well, Michael is the father of Jamie's baby. Not only is she his niece, she's underage. So what is the point of this? Like, I don't understand why you're doing this whole cult thing and you're going back and showing all of what makes Michael and what you've got these other people controlling him, and that's why he's the boogeyman. That's why he does what he does. And then at the end of this version, the producer's version, you've got Michael in the hallway with Paul Rudd, and he's grabbing Paul Rudd by the throat. You know, Tommy Doyle. He's grabbing him by the throat. Tommy has lined up these rocks, these ancient runes in a circle, and imprisoned Michael by saying Samhain, which is Samhain. It's saying it incorrectly. Samhain, which is the holiday of Halloween, blah, blah, blah. So Michael pauses like a robot and just stops. And he's standing there in the hallway like an idiot, and everybody just walks past him, and that's how you stop Michael. You put him in a circle of rocks, and you say Samhain, problem solved. And I'm saying that is about as anticlimactic as you can get. And on top of that, at the end of it, Dr. Loomis goes out and he sees somebody in the mic. He sees who he believes is Michael Myers laying on the floor with his mask on, and he pulls the mask off, and it's Dr. Wynn, and Dr. Wynn's like, well, you have the curse now. And he looks at his wrist, and now Dr. Loomis has a thorn. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? What are you telling me? That this 75-year-old man is going to be a stalker, is going to go around killing? What are you trying to say here?
Grandpappy.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. And Michael's walking out dressed like the Man in Black at the end of that one. So they went back and they reshot it and gave us the chase scenes that I think are so much better, so much more action-packed. Tommy Doyle beating Michael in the head with a pipe. That's the way it's supposed to be. You fight Michael with force. You don't put him in a circle of rocks and say a word.
Nobody wants to die. You're going to fight.
Exactly. And Michael, you also get the thing where Michael goes into that, they're about to do some kind of surgery on the baby or whatever, and Michael goes in that room and just slaughters all the doctors. And I was like, that is a good scene. He's just like, they got the strobe lights going, and you're seeing people thrown through windows and big knives coming down. And then you start the big chase scene with Tommy and the rest of the crew running from Michael. And that's the way this movie, that's a highlight of this movie for me. And I love Curse of Michael Myers, and I know there's a lot of people that hate it. A lot of hardcore fans hate it, and I know I'm ranting. I'm sorry. Curse of Michael Myers is so much fun for me. It's so nostalgic for me. It takes me back to the 90s when was a very important time in my life. And this movie, I used to watch it all the time, and it got me through some really bad crap. And Michael Myers was scary in this. The mask was scary, and I love the performance. And at the end of the day, it sits right here closer to the top than all but 3, I think, Halloween movies. So, moving on from Curse, Friday the 13th Part 2, Sackhead Jason. Okay, I'll go back and forth as to whether or not this is actually better than Curse of Michael Myers, but I was trying not to just Michael Myers up the last top end of my list and just have nothing but Michael Myers, because I can appreciate some of the better entries in the other franchises. But the main reason Friday the 13th Part 2 is here is because of Jenny, the final girl. I think she's awesome. She puts up a really good fight. She does the whole put on Mrs. Voorhees' vest and talk like his mom so that she gets him to slow down and, get in his head a little bit. And there's some really good kills in this one, some really good, especially the jump scene at the end where he comes through the window and he looks like a redneck. Like he's got the machete in his shoulders still, but like he's got the eye down here and the hair, and he just looked creepy. And it was a really good jump scare. So overall, there's some good chase scenes in this one. I'm not crazy about Sackhead Jason, but Friday 2 has some really good moments in it, so that's why it's here. New Nightmare. Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Wes Craven came back to A Nightmare on Elm Street. He was probably tired of seeing Nightmare on Elm Street get butchered over and over and over. So he comes back and directs the 7th movie, and they go meta with it. It's a movie within a movie. So he's like, well, we're going to come back and make this franchise. And it's like there's a real demon that's attacking the cast of the movie inside this movie. So it's like Heather Langenkamp from the first movie is playing herself. And Robert Englund is playing himself. Wes Craven's playing himself. All of the people who made the original Nightmare on Elm Street are back, but they're being haunted by an entity that's actually killing people, and it's played by Robert Englund, and he looks like a demonic Freddy Krueger. And it's so good, like movie within a movie stuff. And the hat and the trench coat that Freddy wears, he's different looking. He actually looks like something from like Nosferatu or something. Like he's just more a little bit Shakespearean looking. Like, he's got the claws on all 5 fingers. Yeah, he looks like a demon, like a menace or whatever. And he's stalking her little boy, and it's just really, really cool. I like New Nightmare a lot, and it predated Scream by 2 years. Scream was very meta when it come out, but this one kind of set the standard for that a little bit ahead of its time. So I can appreciate this one a lot. It's my favorite of the nightmares. Next up, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. This is a garbage mask, but a fantastic movie. And somebody mentioned this on a video I saw. At the beginning, Michael is bandaged up from what happened to him in Part 2, and he's walking around killing people in the bandages at first. I wish he just had the bandage face the whole time. That would have been so creepy. But the white face and the the jumpsuit is like the marketing look, so they had to get a version of that in here. But this Rachel is one of the best characters. You got Ben Meeker, the sheriff, in here. Dr. Loomis is back. One of the most solid casts of the entire Halloween franchise. And Michael Myers is brutal in this one. He's very slow. He's very robotic, but when he catches up to you, it's over with. And this guy is like, he's just standing in the shadows a lot. Like they lock themselves in the house, and they think Michael's outside. And he's actually in the house with them. And like, there's a scene where like it's if you blink, you miss it. There's a scene where like Loomis and the sheriff, I think, are on the walkie-talkie trying to find out if they can get help. And right by the wall, there's a you can see like an arm or a shoulder standing there, and he's like watching them on the radio while they're calling for help. And I'm just like, this movie, it's got so many moments like that. There's a scene where the other deputy's sitting in the rocking chair and he's looking around, he's talking to Rachel, and then over here in the side you'll see a white face peek out for like a split second. He's like, what was that? You know, it's like, it's so many moments like that. And then the whole thing on the roof where Michael's chasing them on the roof, and it's so many just good, you know, guttural moments that just keep the tension going. That's why I love Halloween 4. And the atmosphere and the music and everything, it looks like fall. It was actually one of the only ones shot around fall. And it looked cold and rainy. And
Give you the good nostalgia.
yeah, it does. And it really sets the mood. So that's Halloween 4. Next up, Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. This is the first real zombie Jason, is what I call him. Tommy goes over there to make sure Jason's dead and buried, and he goes with his buddy, and he sticks the metal pipe in Jason's grave, and lightning strikes it and brings Jason back. So Tommy's responsible for bringing Jason back. Jason was dead and buried. He should have left it alone.
Thanks, Tommy.
Yeah, thanks a lot. But it was interesting because, like, when they first open his coffin, like he had actual like maggots and stuff on his head. It was nasty looking.
I remember we watched this one together.
We did watch it together.
It's the first time I've ever watched that one.
Really?
Yeah.
I like it. It's got a really good soundtrack. Jason's really creepy in it. A lot of people call him Home Depot Jason or Carpenter Jason because he's got like the utility belt with
who played this Jason?
His name was C.J. Graham, played him in this one.
Because he was pretty...
He was pretty beefy, yeah. Yeah, and he had a really strong, like, scary walk to him.
Yeah.
And the thing I liked about this Jason, too, was it actually showed him in the daylight sometimes. Like, he was chasing people. There's, like, people playing paintball, and he's after them. They're playing paintball in his woods, so he ain't having that. And he jumps down from this tree and just does a triple decapitation, like 3 people in a row. I was like, that's cool. Like, and this movie was also kind of breaking the fourth wall, where, like, you got
Decapitation.
Yeah. you got like certain characters like joking with the camera a little bit, so it's like they're kind of breaking the fourth wall, doing the Deadpool thing a little bit, and I can appreciate that. Tom McLaughlin directed this one, and he was such a fan of like gothic horror, like Frankenstein and stuff, obviously, and he takes a lot of inspiration from that kind of stuff. Fun fact, there's also Tony Goldwyn, who plays in Ghost, who played the bad guy in Ghost, was in this movie. Briefly, if you get my drift. Mm-hmm. But actually, this was actually a really good installment, and this was the last Jason before Kane Hodder took over for 4 movies. So it had a lot of really good moments to it. Some of the humor's cheesy, but I like it. I like it for that time period, and it looked kind of glossy, like MTV style a little bit. I liked that. And it had Alice Cooper in the soundtrack, so that was cool. Friday the 13th, the final chapter. This is the best Jason movie, in my opinion. And there is a lot of sleaze factor here, too. But get past the sleaze and look out for the blood, because there's lots of it. There's some of the most creative kills in this. You also have a Crispin Glover, who you may know as Marty McFly's dad from Back to the Future, plays in this movie. And he has an iconic death scene where he's talking to his buddy Ted. He's like, hey, Ted, where's the corkscrew? And corkscrew comes through his hand, and then he gets a meat cleaver to the face. And I was like, yeah, Jason's back. But the coolest kill in the movie is the scene where, you know, Jason is technically dead, I guess, and he's got an axe in his head, and they're taking him to the morgue, and the guy's sitting there watching his little exercise videos where he's seeing the women exercise, being all weird about it, and Jason comes up behind him and takes a hacksaw here and just twists his head around, and I was like, that's cool. And then he meets the nurse outside, and like, they don't zoom in on it, but you know what's happening. Like, he takes the knife and he's like slowly going down. I was like, oh, that's brutal. But Ted White played Jason in this, and he's scary in this, and he has some really creepy makeup. Corey Feldman was in this as little Tommy Jarvis, and from what I understand, Ted White couldn't stand Corey Feldman on the set. He said he was a little butthole, and he said he wanted to whoop his butt, but apparently Corey Feldman rubbed him the wrong way. But yeah, this movie has a lot going for it, especially the demise of Jason at the end, where Tommy takes the machete and like hits him in the side of the face, and then the machete lands on the floor and it just slides all the way down. That, to me, it was banned in a lot of countries, a lot of areas, because of the brutalness of it. Even on video, they were like, we're cutting this, you can't see this. But it took me forever to see it because I watched it on TV years ago, and I was like, well, what happened? I want to see what happened. And I had to eventually get it to be able to see that. But there's one scene that I've heard a lot of people make fun of, and to me it's haunting. Like, you have this character, Rob, whose sister was killed in part 2, and he's come back to try to find Jason and get some closure, I guess. And there's a scene where he goes down in the basement, and he's fighting Jason, and Jason, you see Jason's hand pick up it looks like a gardening fork or something, and he just starts wailing on Rob. And Rob is screaming, he's killing me. And run, he's telling, what's her name, Trish to run. Just to hear him say he's killing me, for some reason, it kills me. I'm just like, it wears me out. I'm just like, dude, like, I've heard people like make light of that, like that's a stupid line, but to me, what would you say in that line? Like, he's killing me. Like, he's literally killing him with this thing. And it's a terrifying moment. So this movie has a lot to offer, and this is, in my opinion, this is just me talking, this was the last time that we see Jason alive, because from then on, and number 5, you had imposter Jason, and then from 6 on, you had undead Jason. So I think this is the last time that Jason looks like a mutant, but I think he's still alive here. So that's just my opinion. But anyway, we're going to move on now to Halloween Kills. Halloween Kills, folks. That's top 2 Michael Myers ever performances. And he's some of the best kills. And I know that I didn't mention this part last time. The part where Michael steps out of the burning house and he kills all the firefighters. Brutal. He just went John Wick on these dudes.
Yeah. I don't even know what to say, because he did.
Yeah, he's got like a fireman's axe, and he's stabbing this one, and then this one tries to get a saw on him, and he just takes the saw back down on them. And you got the Big John, Little John kill. You got the park where he takes out Lindsay's friends in the SUV, and he hangs Marion up like a witch on the swing set.
Oh, yeah.
It's brutal. I mean, just so many moments like that. And the light bulb to the neck at the lady's house, and so many moments that he's just so menacing in this.
This is the one I said I thought it was a little
overkill. Yeah. And then this is also the one where Karen takes Michael's mask and runs, and he finds his mask in the middle of the street, and then the mob's all around him, and they just beat the snot out of him and shoot him and everything, and he gets up and just kills everybody.
Yeah, he ain't going down.
No. And this is the strongest that I've ever really seen Michael Myers. This is one of the most brutal performances. James Jude Courtney, my hat goes off to you, dude. You made Michael Myers scary. And I love this movie. I love the burnt side of the mask. It just looks cool. And, I didn't like it as much in Ends, but I love it in Kills. And I know people can talk about Evil Dies Tonight and chasing the wrong dude through the hospital. I don't care. That does not detract from this movie to me. This movie is about Michael Myers killing. It's why it's called Michael Myers Halloween Kills, because that's what Michael Myers is doing, and they focus on the kills. So if you're a kill fan, and that's what you go these movies for, you should be pretty satisfied with it. And I believe we're at the top spot. Halloween 2 is my favorite of the 33, folks.
His favorite. Is that?
Yeah, I've got Halloween 2 everything.
Representing.
I've got Halloween 2 everything all in the house. It's my favorite, guys. I know people prefer the first one, and that's awesome. Good for you.
He likes what he likes.
I like what I like, and it's creepy, and I get a lot of people that hate on me so much for preferring part 2. But guys, I can't help it. Like, Michael Myers is creepier in this one, and the kills are better. And I like the atmosphere. You're secluded in a hospital, and you're just taking out the hospital staff. And some of the kills are just really grisly in it for the time. And you got Michael, who's standing maybe 5'9" or 5'10", having superhuman strength where he could take a scalpel in somebody's back and lift them up off the floor. Like, that's strength. And he's walking through glass doors without even phasing and stuff. And when the room explodes and he's set on fire, he's walking still. I mean, it's creepy. And, it's not my favorite Jamie Lee Curtis performance because she has to lay in bed for most of it, and you got Dr. Loomis, who's trying to get to the bottom of and find him out in town. He still thinks he's in town. And then when he finds out that Laurie and Michael are brother and sister, then he's like, oh, well, that's where he's going. I have to go there now. But there are so many moments where Michael is lit just perfectly in the lighting, like we were talking about before, when Laurie's hiding outside and she's trying to run to the hospital and Michael steps out under the red light and starts walking towards her. That's one of the creepiest moments in the franchise.
Now, is this the one where she's in the mental hospital?
No, this is the one where she got stabbed in Halloween 1 and they take her to the hospital.
Oh, okay.
She's got to have surgery.
On memory. Okay.
Yeah, she's been in the hospital a lot.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, her brother's trying to kill her.
Right, yeah. But this one, bar none, my favorite. This is my favorite of the big 3. Michael Myers is my favorite of the big 3. Halloween 2 is top of the line as far as all 33 movies, for the reasons I've tried to mention. Don't ever go away from my videos thinking that this is the way it is. And I know that everybody's got their own opinions, and I'm not of the belief that I'm right about what movies are better. I'm just saying I prefer the lineup that I just gave you.
It's your opinion.
It's
not your all's.
No, my
It's
personal
his.
taste. Yeah. And Halloween 2 to me is my personal favorite of all of them.
Right.
So that's how I rank the 33 of the big 3, everybody. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I am sorry that we've gone so long, but it was going to be a long one regardless. Like we said, go see Before I Wake on Netflix. Check it out. If it's not streaming there, it will be somewhere. I guarantee you it's going to be streaming somewhere. But it is on Netflix right now, so check it out also. And that will do it for this video. Many thanks to my lovely assistant for sitting here and indulging me. Thank you guys for hanging out, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Happy Friday 13th.
Woohoo!